As we're preparing for the cross-examination of Brian Albert, let's take a closer look at his testimony so far. Here to discuss with me, jury consultant and human behavior expert Susan Constantine and retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi. Good morning to you both. And what I'd like to do is ask you both separate questions. Susan focusing on the behavior, the body language, and then Kirk, the legal implications of the testimony. So Susan, let's begin with you, please. The big thing that Brian Albert said on direct was that Officer John O'Keefe never entered his home. Let's take a look back at that clip together, and you tell us, please, if you think he looked honest.
Did you know or did you become aware of either John O'Keefe or the defendant, Karen Reed, coming over to your house?
No.
And at no point in time over the course of that evening or the early morning there did John O'Keefe or Karen Reed physically come into your house?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never entered my house.
Okay, he's firm on that. Susan, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, so I've watched this several times over and over again. So most of what he's telling you is truthful. So there's not a lot of deception going on here. But one of the things that I'm looking for is that timing and duration of when he's answering that question. So there is a slight little pause that happens before he answers he's never entered the house. But the thing is what I want you to look at, and if you want it really close to this, you can literally see two micro shoulder shrugs on his right shoulder. Those are what we call downplaying or often associated with deceptive indicators. But here's the problem, Julie, is that there's no real strong cluster. So it has to include two of nonverbals or two verbals over at least two channels of communication. And when you tie them together, it's not real strong that he's being deceptive. So he must have trained, if he is being deceptive, he certainly has rehearsed it many times, so it comes across more flawlessly.
Susan, thank you for that. Okay, so first clip, to be clear, he appears truthful to you.
Yes.
Truthful, okay.
Yes, except for, let me what I will share with you, Julie.
Yeah.
There's these micro shoulder shrugs. They leak out on one side of the shoulder. Those are deceptive indicators, and there's two of them that go pop, pop, and they're real tiny. Those are deceptive indicators. So it's downplaying. What he's doing is downplaying. So why he's downplaying is what we need to find out.
Oh, okay. Okay, I appreciate the clarification there, Susan, because I know there was a little caveat there, but okay, maybe the next clip will give you an indication. He's asked why he didn't go outside after police arrived. Let's take a look.
I didn't see that there was a reason to go out to that area. The police had already been in my house. They had already talked to us about what was going on. It was a snowstorm at that point. They were trying to conduct an investigation, and I didn't want to interfere with it or have anything to do with it.
Okay, Susan, your thoughts on that one, please.
Okay, so these are what we call convincing. You can see it in his eyebrows, where his eyebrows stay raised and they're frozen there. So this is the person that was actually kind of a form of a freeze response, but the eyebrows are frozen up. That is more convincing than conveying. So the question is that why is he doing that? There's more context that we're missing. And I really wish I were there and I could ask him a bit more probative question that would create more of a stimulus, that I could see more of a cluster that's going on. But right now he's in the convincing mode, which wouldn't be unusual if he's trying to convince somebody what he's saying is truthful. The thing is, the duration and the timing of that gesture is frozen, and that is associated with deception in some cases.
That's interesting, Susan. You know, I wonder how much of the response is in part to the question, the way the question's being asked. It was, you know, one kind of designed to put him on the defensive, wasn't it?
Absolutely. That's the most important thing, is that we're looking for a stimulus, right? We are looking for what is the stimulus, what content created the stimulus, and then watching for the reaction from that stimulus. And that's what the question's not proffered quite right in order to get that stimulus that I would want to see.
I appreciate that, Susan. I've got one more clip for you to look at, please. This is where Brian Albert's explaining why he sold his home.
And as far as prior to selling the house, what, if any, did the sale of your house have anything to do with what occurred there on January 29, 2022?
Absolutely not.
Okay, Susan, again, another awkward question, but your thoughts on...
Liar.
Ooh,
Again,
okay.
this one, liar, liar, pants on fire. You see the
Ooh, okay.
exasperation. You can see the swallowing. That's a fear response. He was already shaking it. No, Julie, right there was a reason why he sold that house. He knows that. You could see it right there in his mouth. Strong emotional response. Gulping, that's a cluster. Now, he was selling the house, obviously, for other reasons. Not sure why. Probably because the death now of his partner.
This is so fascinating. Susan, thank you for all of that. So now let's talk about the defense strategy with these different things. I'm thinking this defense team, it's a robust team. We know Karen Reed is apparently a wealthy woman, has even her own audio-visual person running the exhibits in the courtroom. I wonder if they're going to hire someone like yourself, Susan, a body language expert, to look at those answers. They had time over the weekend.